Welcome to the Confident Mental Wellness Podcast. Challenge what holds you back, where we love on and challenge business executives, entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, thought leaders, and coaches to take us deep, revealing how self-doubt, negative thinking, and even sheer fear were secrets they refuse to reveal to anyone. Secrets that once held them back. We'll hear how these leaders cast off the fear, excuses, and setbacks to move forward with purpose and passion. How they activated a mindset that set them up for success. Welcome back to Challenge What Holds You Back. Our theme for season 1, workplace mental wellness. And we have the perfect guest for you to talk about mental wellness. He's a man with the name that describes his personality. Sonny Melendrez. Thanks for being here with me. So glad you're here. So good to see you
Hi.
again.
Great to see your smiling face, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. Sonny, I usually save my intros for later and put things in the show notes, but I do want to make sure the audience knows who we're talking to today. So, Sonny, check this out, y'all. Was twice named Billboard Magazine's National Radio Personality of the Year. He was inducted into the Texas Radio Hall of Fame, the San Antonio Radio Hall of Fame, and included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as one of the top 100 radio personalities of all time. And now we hear Sonny all the time on the Sonny Melendrez show, which you can find on podcast platforms everywhere. And I am just so thrilled to know you, Sonny. I was thinking about you and think that we came into the business around the same time. And I think our careers were like on a track during the same years like this. How did you enter the media business?
Actually, I tell this story about how I invented podcasting. Uh, when I was 11 years old, I wanted to be on the radio so badly, Stephanie, that I created my own show with my little recorder and record player. And I would play the songs that they played on the radio and talk just like they did. And I'd make these little 5-minute shows. And then I'd call one friend at a time and play it for them on the phone. But that
At
really
the podcast.
gave me the dream, and I really believe this. Whenever you want to do something, your subconscious doesn't know whether you've done it professionally or not. So just doing it, and you see that a lot with these contestants on America's Got Talent or all these different talent shows, and they'll just say that they were in their room, they used to dance or sing, et cetera, and pretend like they were on TV. And that's kind of what I did. So by the time I got to college, at San Antonio College, here in San Antonio, I realized that they had a radio TV department. And so I, I took that as my major and put back because it led to one thing after another. But my first job was in El Paso, and I was working at a station that was the number one station. I was on the weekends from 5 a.m. to noon. I would go on the air. I'd actually flip it on because it was off the air for maintenance, and I was having the time of my life. I couldn't believe it. I was playing the Beatles, Sonny and Cher, the Beach Boys, cranking up the volume, entertaining on the radio, just like I had dreamed of, and I was making a whopping $1.25 an hour. Stephanie, I thought I had gone to heaven. How pay me to have this much fun? So that
Oh,
led
wow. That's deep.
to the station in town. I came back to San Antonio, programmed the number one station, KTSA, and then went to Los Angeles. But
So give me a time frame, Sonny. When you were podcasting as a kid, like what year would that have been that you started in
uh,
radio?
that would have been like the early 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was playing all these different. And let me tell you something that's really an incredible. I've had so many serendipities all throughout my life. And I know they're not by accident. But when I was going to college at San Antonio College, before I actually set foot into the college radio station, from the time registration to the time the first day of school, there was a fair. It was called the Teen Fair of Texas, and it was held at the Coliseum. And all the stars, recording stars, etc., were on the day for 10 days. And there was one singer. I was always already doing impressions, and I did a lot of singing impressions. And there was one singer. His name was Bobby V. He had "The Night Has a Thousand Eyes," "Rubber Ball," all these great top 10 songs. And I had to meet him because that was my number one, impression. And he was my idol. And but the tickets were, was so expensive. I think they were like maybe $7. But back then there was a lot of money. So my mom says, "Son, why don't you get a job selling lemonade at the concession stand, and maybe you can go to the parties." I said, "Mom, you're a genius." So I applied, I got the job, and I told the lady who also did the catering for the press parties, I said, "Now, I'm going to need time off to interview the different stars because I'm with WSAC radio." I didn't tell her that was a college station. And so she says, "Oh, absolutely." So on the day that Bobby V had his press conference, she called in sick. She wasn't there, so I couldn't get in. I finally was able to get in. And when I got in, Leslie Gore was on stage singing, "It's my party and I cry if I want to." And there was a bouncer between me and backstage, but there was a lady who was standing next to him, and I recognized her from one of the teen magazines. It was Leslie Gore's mother. So, and I'm wearing a suit. If you can imagine this, Stephanie, I'm wearing a suit. I've got a sketch pad because I'd sketched his charcoal drawing of Bobby V, and I also had my recorder. So I walk up and I'll act like I know what I'm doing next to the bouncer. I said, "We got a pretty good crowd today." And he looks down at me, this 17-year-old kid. So then said to him, I said, "I'm going to go get a chair for Mrs. Gore." I walk backstage, get a chair, bring it to Miss. "Oh, thank you, son. Oh, appreciate it." And she sits down. Now I've been backstage, so I just kind of waltz back there, make my way to the room where they were having the big press party. There was this giant table with all kinds of food, and there was a group who really nobody knew. They were from England. They billed them as Friends of the Beatles, and they were in there like five guys. And one of them says to me, "What's that?" And he was pointing to the recorder. I said, "Oh, this is to interview the different singers in the band." And then I realized they're singers, they're in the band, and but I don't want to use up all the tape because I had to save for Bobby V. So I kind of pushed the button reluctantly and then started asking questions like, "How do you like Texas?" It's cold. "Oh, how do you like your hamburger?" "It's okay." "Who's your favorite Beatle?" "George."
Great.
I mean, it's my first interview ever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, here comes Bobby V. I make a beeline for him, tell him who I am, and he says, "Absolutely. And, can I do an interview?" "Sure." So we're doing the interview, and during the interview, Steph, in comes the real radio personalities from all the top stations, and they're all going, "Hey, Bobby, hey, Bobby," and he says, "Guys, can you hold it down? I'm doing an interview here. I'll be right." Wow. Believe
Wow.
I literally left that room on, my feet weren't touching the ground. It was incredible
Now, oh my goodness, how old were you?
working with him, etcetera. Now, fast forward maybe 9 to 10 years, I'm now on the air in Los Angeles, one of the top stations, KMPC, and, it was such a big station and that everybody on the station was connected to a national television show. Gary Owens was on Laugh-In, Wink Martindale, Tic Tac Go. I mean, it's just incredible. And I was the new kid, but I learned a lesson. And that is when you earn your right to be there, you can hold your head up and do what it is that got you there. And a lot of people sometimes think that they don't deserve to be there, but if you can get that self-doubt out of your mind and really know that you belong there. And I did. I mean, I'd already had years of experience, but I was the new kid on the block. Well, it was such a big station that on Mondays, the record people from all the different record companies would come with albums and 45s because we all programmed our own shows. And they would say, I got this good, I got this. And then one of the record guys came in and he handed me an album and it said Robert Thomas Valine was the artist. And I said, this is Bobby V, isn't it? He says, yes. 'Cause he had a different hairstyle. I said, I'm going to play this. He said, but you haven't heard it. I said, I don't care. I'm going to play it, but I want an interview with Bobby V. He says, no problem. We'll set it all up. So now the time comes. The interview is I'm in the big studio. I'm all ready to go. Got the microphone set up, et cetera. I mean, for me to talk on the phone with him. And the front desk calls and says, you have somebody, a visitor. I said, I can't, I'm waiting for a phone call here. It's a very important interview. And she says, this is your interview. I go to the lobby and there's Bobby V. Now his career had come and gone. He was
Mhm.
now in Michigan. And when
Okay.
he heard that somebody was going to play his album in Los Angeles, he got in his van and drove to LA for the, and I
Oh,
told
cool.
story about the Teen Fair of Texas. He remembered, and it was an amazing, serendipity. Here I was, a 17-year-old kid, now in a position to really help him. And here's the here's the kicker. The interview that I did with those five guys, without realizing it, I'd been among the first in America to interview Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones.
What? What?
How's that for a story?
Oh my goodness, that is so exciting. You have
Yeah.
done some great things. It's almost like an obstacle that exists that you won't knock down and get
No.
past
Oh,
because you challenge what holds you back. And you mentioned, sometimes we don't feel like we deserve to be in a lofty place that we are in. That's one of
right.
the things that holds us back.
Yes.
How did you get past that? Did it ever hold you back? Did you
Well,
ever
I'll tell you
think
the truth. I really believe that, and I've read this from so many people, and I read their biographies, and that is that um, if you keep the child inside you alive and well and excited, you do things that you know, other people wouldn't because you look at life differently. You get excited about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And all of a sudden, things take care of themselves. I'll tell you another story and I really believe this. I think I've given a name to this phenomenon. It's called intentional enthusiasm. And what I mean by that is that you get enthusiastic about something before it's even happened. Most people will get enthusiastic about something that has happened. But if you put the good part before the cart, you are able to, or the cart before the horse, you're able to literally enjoy what it is you want to do. And also, I truly believe that you set the wheels in motion for the universe or God to do things on your behalf. Um, when I was on the radio at KTFM here in San Antonio, as you know, it was number one top
yeah.
40. Um, I was actually at a school, and I went to a lot of schools to do these motivational presentations. And it was a Catholic girls' school, St. Francis Academy. And the nun who invited me, Sister Joe, walked me to my car and said, by the way, if you're ever in Rome, our order of nuns takes care of the Vatican. So, let me know and maybe I could get you to see the Pope. And I thought, I'm going to Rome. I got the,
Oh,
I'm going to Rome. I didn't know how or what.
yes.
So that night, I'm at a, and that morning I had read in the paper that this is when the Pope was coming to the United States, Pope John Paul
I
II.
remember. Yes,
And
I was there.
going to be going to of all other cities, but in San Antonio and also Seattle. So the kids in Seattle, children there, were writing letters to him about what's on their minds, so maybe he could address that when he went into Seattle. So now, after I've talked to Sister Joe that night, I'm at the grand opening of a travel agency, and I meet the national promotions director for TWA, Trans World Airlines. It was the big airline back then. And he says, "Listen, if you ever want to do a promotion on the radio, let me know." And I said, "Yeah, well, we're open to any kind of promotion." He says, "Yeah, we want to promote our new flight from New York to Rome." And I said, "Well, it turns out that we're going to get letters from the children of San Antonio, and we do need a partner for me to take the letters to Rome." He says, "Well, write it up and we can do it." Oh, now I have to get the time off, and I just taken my vacation, so I couldn't take vacation days. So I walk into our program director's office, my boss. His name is Bill Thorman. I said, "Bill, we're going to Rome." And I told about the promotion idea and everything else. We did it.
Yeah.
Oh, so many letters from children in San Antonio. I took them to the Vatican, and now we don't know anything. Nobody know we written letters and everything else, but nobody knew anything. This is those obstacles that you're talking about. But we're inside the Vatican gift shop in St. Peter's Square, and a nun heard us talking and said, "I heard you talking. I know the American cardinal. I could give him a call for you." I said, "Oh, sister, please." So the cardinal calls, and she calls him, and the cardinal gets on the phone, and he says, "You will have 5 tickets for tomorrow's presentation or tomorrow's appearance. Um, and at your hotel." So, because we're 5 of us, some of the other people from the station had gone ahead of us. They were on vacation. So there we are with these tickets, and the tickets say prima fila. And so we take the tickets, we go to this place called the Casa Pontifica, and as it turned out, it was so hot that they were having the appearance indoors. And this place held like maybe 1,500, 2,000 people. We walk in, we give the tickets to the Swiss guard. He says, prima fila. Oh." And so he takes us prima, first, fila, row. We're in the first row,
Wow.
literally a stone's throw. I mean, maybe 20 or 30 feet from the Pope for 2.5 hours. Stephanie, it was like being with the world. People who had come and never left their village, had saved all their money to make this pilgrimage, were in the audience. And he was the Pope of Popes. He spoke 7 languages. So there were 7 cardinals who spoke that language from from different uh, countries. And when he said the Mexican cardinal, he says, "De la Ciudad de Mexico, un grupo de jóvenes," from Mexico City, a group of young people, and they all had instruments and they sang and they started singing Cielito Lindo. And that's the song that goes, "Ay, ay, 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 anta no llores." Well, the nuns from Poland were behind us and they were singing, "Ay, ay, ay, ay." And then they broke into La Bamba, and the got his hand and he's tapping his foot and he's going this
What a
unbelievable,
sight to see.
incredible.
Oh my goodness.
So afterwards, one of the ushers came to us and said, "Look, when this is over, stay in your seats and until everybody has left." And sure enough, everybody left and there were like maybe 50 of us in the front row. Now the Pope came to each one of us. And I had all these letters. And when you meet the Pope, you kiss his ring, and he blesses you. And I had the letters, he blessed me, but I didn't kiss his ring because I was telling him what this was all about. I said, "These are from San Antonio." And he goes, "Ah, San Antonio." Because he loved Archbishop Flores, who was the Archbishop of
Yes.
So, so then it's incredible. I come back to San Antonio and Channel 5 does a whole story on the whole thing. And now the Pope comes to San Antonio and I'm the MC of one of the big venues. Um, it was the Guadalupe Center on the West Side and about 5,000 people there. And they've been there all day waiting for the Pope. The Secret Service comes up to me and says, have everybody get in their seats and you get behind the rope as well. The Pope will be here in 3 minutes. He walks through the breezeway, all in white, just beautifully, and has his hands up, and he's just people are cheering, they're going crazy. He walks up to me and hugs me, and I'm thinking, "My goodness, he's up." And then he hugs the person next to me, who was our reporter, Elizabeth Ruiz
Oh,
from
that's busy.
and
Huh?
when he hugged her, I saw his ring, so I lunged him. And I got to kiss his rings.
You got to kiss it after all.
By
Oh,
accident, I
oh
promise
my
you. Not by
goodness. How does remarkable things like this happen for you, Sonny? It just seems like one
they
thing
just
after another because you saw it in your mind's eye a long time ago.
right,
That's
right.
where it started.
Exactly. Whatever you see, you can achieve. It's really true. Walt Disney said this, about whatever the mind can conceive, or actually it was I think it was Napoleon Hill. Whatever the mind can achieve, has conceived, you can achieve. The only thing that holds you back is when you get all this programming in front of you that says, "Well, you couldn't do that because this, you can't do that because this." You just do it. There's a great analogy about the bumblebee. The bumblebee, based on its weight and the amount of times it flaps its wings, can't fly. The bumblebee doesn't know this and flies anyway. And that's what is a bumblebee who is not burdened by all the why you can't do something.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. I didn't realize that about the bumblebee. But, one of the things that has held me back in the past, because I'm much better now, is thinking that I don't know enough. Like, I don't know enough to be an entrepreneur. I don't know enough about this or that. And that used to cause me to just become paralyzed because if I step out there and I don't know the ropes and I don't know all the steps and I don't complete all the steps, then I'm going to fail. And that would just put me right back down in my seat and I do nothing. For years, it held me back. I talk about it in my book, The Secret You Hide Holds You.
Yeah.
But now, what's happening now that I have written that book because it allowed me to get secrets out, those things that people said to me that discouraged me. And I remember my seventh grade teacher says, "King, you ain't gonna make it." My teacher told me I wasn't gonna make it.
Hmm.
I have wrestled with that for years and years and years. So we all have that kind of stuff that's in there. We have to find a way to get around it. And what's happening now is since I've written it, I'm able to decide, okay, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to step out and know that when I get there, I will figure it out. What I need is going to come to me and it doesn't have to stop me. And it hasn't. So that has been my experience. And like on this podcast, we're talking about the workplace mental wellness. And so, we don't always think about not that we don't always think about it. It just doesn't even come to our minds, I'm sure. Intentional enthusiasm and work. Yeah, I mean, just don't see too many people talking about that kind of thing. Let me throw a couple of statistics at you and see what you think, okay? So, 83% of US workers suffer from work related stress.
I believe
25%,
you
believe
believe
that? Yeah.
yeah.
25% say their job is the number one stressor in their lives. And about 1 million Americans miss work each day because of stress. 76% of US workers report that workplace stress affects their personal relationships. Sonny, intentional enthusiasm and work. How does this come together? And is it something that can help people on the job in the office?
Well, you know, everything you do has something to do with everything you do. Even if you're going through a struggle in your life, either personally or especially at work, like you're talking about, and when you have these challenges, and you may even have a boss that doesn't believe in you, or a boss that doesn't treat you right, etc. If you look at the big picture and you look at what all of this is going to teach you in the long run, no matter what it is, and look at what it is you do personally to challenge yourself to be the best that you can be. And you may not be in the place you want to be, but eventually you will be recognized. Eventually you will see an opportunity that comes to you. I always say opportunity will find you, but it must find you working. You can't just sit on the curb and wait for something to happen. You have to go out and wave down opportunity and have it, you know, come, uh, come in and get noticed. The thing about opportunity is that it happens to those who are working hard at what they do, and what they do would be your talent. The challenge, and it's not a big secret. The challenge is finding what it is you love, because when you find something that you love, all of a sudden things get so much different. And there's a great saying, Chinese saying, it's a proverb that speaks to what you're talking about, that you don't feel like you know enough. And that is, the work will show you how. You don't have to know how. All you have to do is be curious, and the work will show you how. I mean, you see this in so many times. You go outside and you're going to be pulling weeds or something, and you realize, you know what? If I do this, it works better if I pour water in it, and you learn by doing. And it's the
Right.
same thing with anything. You can break down any challenge and figure out how to get there. The work will show you how.
And how can an employee become intentionally enthusiastic? How can we apply that at work?
You
What does
you
that
got
employee look like? What are they saying? How are they responding?
Yeah, you've got to look at the big picture. What, in other words, what is it that you want to do? I consult a lot of I do a lot of coaching, and what I say to them when I first have a client, I'll say, "All right, it's 1 year from now, and we've got a glass of champagne, and we're toasting your success." And then I say to them, "What does that look like? What happened? In other words, what would you like to have happened?" And they'll tell me, "Well, I always wanted to do this, and I wanted to." All right. Well, that's the success that we're going to be toasting. Now let's work backwards and see how we got here. And when you work backwards, all of a sudden you see, and it just unravels. Here's the road, here's the map, here's all the things that we have to do to get to this place. But now that person has a mountain to climb. And that's one of the problems we have. We all want to climb a mountain, but we don't know which one. And when you don't know which one, you're not making any progress. When you know what mountain you want to climb, now you know if you're going in the right direction. And sure, there's going to be all kinds of challenges along the way. But once you get there, you will have earned your right to be there.
Mm. Yes, yes. Workplace mental wellness is possible with each individual employee. And listening to your message, Sonny, about intentional enthusiasm, I think it gives people another tool, a fun one, a positive one that attaches itself to your passion
Yes.
and drives you toward your dream. That is just so exciting. So, if our listeners, if you want to hear more from Sonny Melendrez, got to check out his signature talk, Intentional Enthusiasm, and you can find it on TEDx. One of his TEDx talks. What's the best way to get to that? Just we search it out on YouTube or YouTube TV.
You'll find it. You go to sonnymelendrez.com. There's that, and there's other videos as well. And the formula for intentional enthusiasm is really threefold. There are three pillars. The first one is belief. You have to believe in yourself. That's the number one person that you've got to believe in. And the second one is vision. Have a clear vision. What it is you want to accomplish. Where's the mountain? Where's the peak? What is it you want to do? And the third one, probably the most important, is gratitude. And the way we express our gratitude along the way is to help others get to the top of their mountain. And when you help others, you really are enjoying the ladder of success, which is this. There's always someone that you'll find who's willing to pull you up to where they are, help you up there. And with your other hand, you always have an opportunity to pull someone up to where you are. If you follow that formula, visualize, believe, and gratitude, you'll find that things really will start to happen and the universe will work on your behalf. And don't be surprised if you don't, wake up, what? I can't believe this. Look what's happening. And that's the way it works. And that that inside you, that childlike view of the world can take you places you've only dreamed of.
Yes. Oh, it's always wonderful to talk to you, Sonny. I'm always encouraged by your enthusiasm. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And congratulations, Stephanie, on all your success. And, you've got a new book coming out. You've got this great podcast, and you're doing it all with intentional enthusiasm.
That's right. I
Yeah.
am. Am.
You are.
All right. Thank you, Sonny.
Thank you.
Because everyone's journey to confident mental wellness includes challenges, you're going to find a lot of value in our newest book, The Secret You Hide Holds You Back, How Letting Go Sweetens Life and Makes You Free. It's coming soon. If you know of a leader who would be perfect for this podcast, it casts off the fear, excuses, and setbacks to activate a mindset that sets them up for success, please send them my way.